Sri Sai Ram. Hearty welcome to the science class 10th state syllabus. Yesterday we have seen some physical properties of metals and non-metals, and today we will start the class by just discussing yesterday's homework, home assignments. I hope all of you have tried it because they are very simple questions. Anyway, let us just glance the home assignment. The first question is, give an example of a metal which is liquid at room temperature. The only liquid metal is mercury. I think all of you have seen mercury. It is a very shining material that is used in thermometers, and it is very slippery also, but the density is very high. That is only one liquid, that is mercury. Second question, metal that can be easily cut with a knife is sodium. There are some special properties of sodium which we have discussed yesterday. It is always kept in kerosene because it is very highly reactive. When exposed to air also it reacts, when exposed to water also it reacts, which you will see today. And that is why, and it is a very soft material, you can cut with knife, but at any cost you should not touch in hand. Okay. Third one, name the best conductor of heat, that is silver. Silver, very shining material, and it is used in ornaments also and idols and so on. So, it is the best conductor of heat. That is why in some houses they use for some heating purpose also. And last one, that is first and last, is a poor conductor of heat, that is lead with the symbol Pb. And second question, explain the meaning of malleable and ductile. The property malleable, malleability is the property by which metals can be beaten into sheets with hammering. So, when you heat some metals, you can beat, I think you can make out so many vessels are made out. And how the vessels are made out? By heating the proper metal, maybe copper or aluminum or zinc, etc. So, you have to heat it, then hammer it to desired shapes. That property is called malleability. And ductility is another property, is the ability of metals to be drawn into thin wires. So, drawing into wires. So, again metal is to be heated. For example, you have seen copper wires, or you might have seen some silver wires also. Gold wire, yesterday I told you 1 gram of gold can be drawn into a length of 2 kilometers. So, thin wires, even you have seen fuse wires in your house, all these are the property called as ductility. So, this is the answer for the home assignment. Now, coming to today's topic, welcome to today's topic, and that is chemical properties of metals. There are two experiments or activities. Of course, you can do this in your classrooms when you come to classes or in laboratories. Very simple, you might have already seen it because it is the same experiment you have seen in class 8th also, 7th also. So, most of you have seen it. Those you have not seen, you can try afterwards. Okay. When magnesium ribbon is taken and burnt in air or oxygen, what happens? I think all of you have seen a ribbon type. You have to heat it with a spirit lamp, so it catches fire. It burns, with a dazzling white color. In the exam, they ask a question: how does magnesium burns in air or oxygen? It burns with a dazzling white color. You might have seen in Deepavali, different kinds of crackers. Some of them will give sound, some of them will give light, some of them will give smoke and so on. Here is magnesium just like you have seen rockets in Deepavali, which goes up and comes down with white color. So, that white color material is called magnesium. So, when magnesium is burnt, it forms magnesium oxide, 2 Mg plus O2 gives 2 MgO. So, what is Mg? Mg is magnesium. It is a white metal, it will be usually in ribbon shape. Magnesium plus oxygen gives magnesium oxide. It is a chemical combination. Last year you have seen there are 4 kinds of chemical reactions. First one is called chemical combination. This is an example of chemical combination. For writing equation, there will be 2 parts. One is called reactants. The substance what you take for chemical reactions is called reactants, and the substance what is obtained is called products. Here there is only one product, and in between use an arrow mark from left to right. The left to right represents the forward reaction, what you call. And first you have to write the reaction, what happens. Then you must write symbols or formula. Symbol of magnesium is Mg, symbol of oxygen is O, and formula for magnesium oxide is OMgO. But in reaction, the second step is you want to write the molecular form. So, molecular form of oxygen is O2. And the third step is you have to balance the equation. Here there is only 1 Mg, 1 Mg, 2O, 1O. So, make it 2 by multiply by 2. This is what is called, now here 2 Mg, so 2 Mg. It is a complete reaction or balanced equation. Is it okay? So, when magnesium ribbon is burnt, it forms magnesium oxide. And what type of oxide it is? So, again when you say oxides, there are 4 kinds of oxide which I am going to tell later. This is a basic oxide. Basic oxide. What do you mean basic oxide? All metallic oxides are called basic oxides. How do you identify it? The nature is it turns red litmus into blue. When litmus solution or litmus paper, wet red litmus, if it is added to this magnesium oxide, it turns into blue because it is a basic oxide. So, do not forget, whenever the metallic oxide comes, it will be basic in nature, right. Now, second activity we discussed, when sulfur is burnt in air or oxygen, it forms sulfur dioxide. This also you have seen. So, symbol for sulfur is S, for oxygen is SO2, and sulfur dioxide is, what is that arrow mark up represents? It represents gas, and this oxide is example for acidic oxide, the second type of oxides. So, all non-metals form acidic oxides. What do you mean acidic oxide? When these oxides dissolve in water, they form acids. For example, if the basic oxide dissolves in water, it forms alkalis, and here it forms acids. That is why the name acidic oxide. And what is the Now, how do you identify it? It changes the color of blue litmus into red color. So, here sulfur is a yellow powder. It is available in many parts of India also. I think you have seen tires, the vehicle tires now, it is very hard because of what is called as vulcanization of rubber. That is done by the help of sulfur. It is white powder, actually it is a non-metal. When it is heated in oxygen, so this yellow sulfur, when it is heated with oxygen, it forms sulfur dioxide. The flame color is blue in color, and it is a suffocating gas. Even when in nature also you will see, when some waste materials are heated, a bad smell will come. That is again one of the part of that gases will be sulfur dioxide, SO2. So, these are the two activities in connection with the chemical properties. Now, let us see some more activities. So, also like these two, we have what you can get is most of the metals combine with oxygen to form metal oxides. For example, if you take copper, copper is a brown color material. When it is heated with the oxygen, it forms cupric oxide. So, note the name. There are two oxides for copper. One is called cuprous oxide and this is cupric oxide. Its formula will be Cu has two valencies, valency 2. So, you have cupric oxide CuO. So, when copper combines with oxygen, copper is a brown material. When you heat it, it will be a greenish color, it turns into greenish color, forming cupric oxide. When you balance it, it will be like this. Again, all these are what is called chemical combination. The reactions are called chemical combination. So, combination means two or more elements combined to form a new compound. So, this is called cupric oxide. Another one is aluminum. If you take, we have taken only a few samples, not all. Aluminum plus oxygen, most of you have seen aluminum is a white metal. When it is heated with oxygen, it forms aluminum oxide. The ore of aluminum is called bauxite. It is available in Karnataka also. So, suppose you take the symbol of aluminum is Al, oxygen is O and aluminum oxide is Al2O3. How you get it? Aluminum valency is 3, oxide valency is 2. So, you have Al2O3, and if you write the molecular form, this will be oxygen O2, and if you balance, there is 2 Al here and only 1 Al here. So, and O is 2 here, O is 3 here. So, 3, 2 means you must write 2 here. Now, Al becomes 4 and O becomes 6. This is a balanced equation. So, aluminum combines with oxygen to form aluminum oxide. Here this aluminum oxide is a third type of oxide. We have seen basic oxide, acidic oxide. This is what is called amphoteric oxide. Please note the new name, amphoteric. Amphoteric oxide means the speciality is it reacts with both acids and bases. For example, when this aluminum oxide is treated with hydrochloric acid, it forms aluminum chloride plus hydrogen plus water. So, if you balance it, 2 Al, 1 Al, make it 2. Now, you have 6H, O3, O3. So, this is the reaction. It reacts with hydrochloric acid to form aluminum chloride plus water, and also it reacts with a base or an alkali like sodium hydroxide. It forms sodium aluminate, NaAlO2 plus H2O. This is called sodium aluminate. Plus water. Now, balancing 2 Al here, 1 Al here, and now Na become 2, O is 3 plus 2 5, here 4 plus 1 5, H is 2, H is 2. So, equation is balanced. This shows that aluminum oxide reacts with both acid as well as bases. So, this is a very good, a very important base or alkali. So, solution of sodium hydroxide is called alkali. So, its name is sodium hydroxide. I think all of you are noting down, right? You please note down, very important as far as exam is concerned. And this is hydrochloric acid. There are 3 important acids which all of you know. One is hydrochloric acid HCl, another one is sulfuric acid H2SO4, and third one is nitric acid HNO3, and AlCl3 is nothing but aluminum chloride. I think you understood what is meant by amphoteric. Amphoteric oxide is an oxide which combines both with acid and base, forming respective salts and water. So, these are some of the examples of metals which they combine with air or oxygen and to form the respective oxides. Please note the compound formed. When metals combine with oxygen, it forms oxides. When they combine with chlorine, they form chlorides. When they combine with sulfur, they form sulfides. When they combine with halides, halogens, they form halides. So, it is easy to remember: magnesium, magnesium oxide; sulfur, sulfur dioxide; copper, copper oxide; aluminum, aluminum oxide. So, easy to remember, right? So, and this is a special characteristic as far as aluminum oxide is concerned. And there is a 4th oxide, of course, it is not there in your syllabus, but you must note that also. 4th type of oxide is called neutral oxides. Just to revise once, I will recall the oxides. One is called basic oxide, formed by the combination of metals with oxygen. Why they are called basic? Because they turn red litmus into blue, and they are formed with metals like sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and so on. Example: sodium oxide, potassium oxide, etc. And second type of oxides is acidic oxide, sulfur dioxide, copper oxide, you have phosphorus pentoxide. All these are called acidic oxides because they form acids when they react with water, and they turn blue litmus into red. And the third one is amphoteric oxide. I just told you the example of aluminum oxide, which reacts with both acids and bases. And neutral oxides, example carbon monoxide and nitric oxide. So, they are the example of neutral oxides which do not react with neither acids nor bases. Now, when these basic oxides react with water, they form what is called alkalis. Alkalis are formed when basic oxides react with water. This is a very important product, especially in the manufacture of soaps. So, this is sodium oxide, for example, sodium oxide plus water gives sodium hydroxide. There are 4 important alkalis. One is sodium hydroxide, second one is potassium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, aluminum hydroxide. So, when this word hydroxide comes, it has a radical of OH, and O comes oxide, OH comes hydroxide. So, sodium oxide plus water gives sodium hydroxide. Similarly, if you take potassium oxide plus water, you get potassium hydroxide. So, how do you identify that? Just if you add red litmus, it turns into blue. So, these are very famous. Similarly, if you take calcium oxide, it forms calcium hydroxide. And also you must know state of matter also. This will be solid and this will be liquid, and the solution that comes is what you call aqueous solution. So, that is called state of matter. Here also potassium oxide is a solid, water is a liquid, the solution is aqueous. Solid, liquid, aqueous. So, small letter represents the state of matter. Okay. So, these are the properties of oxides. Now, we should pass on to some other properties of metals. For example, you must know some special properties of metals. For example, I was just now telling that sodium is always kept in kerosene because it is highly reactive and it reacts very rigorously with water. So, sodium is always kept in, sodium also, potassium also, both of them are kept in kerosene. What is kerosene? I think it is a very well known product. Most of the houses have kerosene. It is a hydrocarbon, it is a petroleum byproduct, and sodium, potassium, etc. are kept in kerosene. That is also one point you must note. That is why we have put the title as "Do you know?" and because it catches fires when it is kept open, and when you take it out from kerosene, you must dry it up with the filter paper, then only it is useful for experiment purpose. Otherwise, the kerosene is there, no, that will not help us for chemical reactions. Secondly, iron filings, they will not react with the oxygen as it is or with water also, but when it is brought near the flame of the burner, you heard about burner, that is called Bunsen burner. It is a gas that is coming out from the tube, and they will supply these gases to it. So, when it is brought near that iron filings brought near the flame, it will be sprinkled, means sparks will come. It reacts vigorously with the burners. Thirdly, metals like silver and gold do not react with oxygen. Of course, you may ask why it is so, because the atomic structure is such. See, all these chemical reactivities are because of the electrons in the outermost orbital, what you call it as valence electrons, you have studied last year. So, silver and gold, their atomic number is more and also its atomic mass also more. The electrons in the outermost orbital will be responsible for this reaction, and there is one process called as anodizing. Anodizing means putting a layer of aluminum. You heard the word anode. For every electrical connection there will be one called as cathode, another called as anode. Cathode is a negative electrode, anode is a positive electrode. So, anodizing is a process in which pure metal aluminum is deposited on an aluminum surface, and that is why the word anode, anodizing. Here aluminum will be deposited in anode, and the valency of aluminum is 3. Here the solution they take is sulfuric acid, H2SO4. There are 3 important acids that are called inorganic acids. One is HCl, hydrochloric acid, another is sulfuric acid, third one is nitric acid. Similarly, you have carbonic acid, phosphoric acid and all. These are very, very important acids. They are called inorganic acids. Organic acid you study in organic chapter, organic chemistry chapter. They are the 3 important acids used in laboratories. So, in case of anodizing process of getting pure aluminum on aluminum, we use sulfuric acid as the electrolyte. These are called electrodes. And the next one is called electrolyte. All of these things you will study later also. Electrolyte is a solution in which the electricity is passed. Here electrolyte is sulfuric acid. So, anodizing means purification of aluminum. Of course, you are going to study a little later when you think about extraction of aluminum, and these are some of the special properties of metals that sodium, potassium, etc. are kept in kerosene. At any cost you should not keep exposed or should not keep in water, right. And next we will see some more properties, especially reaction with water. How do metals react with water? And when you say reaction of metals with water, all of you please note down the reactions. These are very important reaction, and you can request your teachers also when you go to schools to do the experiments also. Now we will show a small figure in that and you can make out how it reacts. For example, the first reaction with water, we have like sodium and potassium. When they react with water, as I was just now telling you, sodium reacts with water vigorously, forming sodium hydroxide, also called as caustic soda. You must know some commercial names also. What is baking soda? Sodium bicarbonate. What is washing soda? Sodium carbonate. What is lime water? Calcium hydroxide. And now you can see the reaction now. See, what happens is when metals like potassium or sodium is taken, as I told just now, you must take using spoons or knife, you must take it out dry it with the filter paper, and what you see there is a glass trough, it is called. You may take some water in glass trough. You should not take in a small vessels, because there is a chance you can see it explodes actually. The reaction is vigorous, the word vigorous is used, and exothermic. Exothermic means heat is evolved. So, you should be at a distance, because it comes out fast, and suppose you are standing near, there are chances it may fall onto your face or hands or etc. on any part of the body. So, you should be careful. Even potassium also, you should not take in hand, you may take a spoon or a spatula or whatever it is and dry it up, put into a water in a trough. And what happens? Immediately in exam they ask 4 type of question in this. How does sodium react with cold water? Answer is, it reacts vigorously with a hissing noise. These 2 words you should note, adjectives, vigorously, vigorously with a hissing noise. Actually the noise comes there, and you have seen sometimes it explodes. You may ask why does it happen in case of only sodium and potassium. Again, the electron in the outermost orbital, both sodium and potassium have 1 electron in the outermost orbital. Its atomic number is 11. When write configuration, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and 3s1. It has got 1 electron in the outermost orbital. That is why sodium is very, very reactive. In potassium also like that. So, coming to reaction now, second question is balance this equation, and third question they ask is, they will give only left hand side, they will not give right hand side. Complete the reaction. And one more is, name the product formed when sodium reacts with water. So, first is you have to write reaction. This is Na means sodium, is a metal, white metal, and this is cold water, and the product formed is sodium hydroxide. It is an alkali. Plus water, and when you balance it, see Na, O, 2 O's are there, so make it 2 here. Now H becomes 4 here. Now only 1 H is there, so 2H plus 2H, 4O, 4H, and Na is 2 here, 2 Na. So that is the reaction of sodium with metal, sodium with cold water. And similarly potassium also reacts with water, forming potassium hydroxide plus hydrogen gas. Here the gas coming out is hydrogen. It is again, so hydrogen gas is evolved, that is why the arrow mark up. And if you balance here, yes, this is a reaction. And gas, again when you say gas, there are different kinds of gases. One is supporter of combustion, like oxygen, which supports combustion. This is a combustible gas, means catches fire. That is why you should be at a distance when you do this experiment, and it is dangerous also when it comes out, but of course you can collect it with proper precautions. That is one reaction with metal. And next reaction we have second reaction of metals with the water. See example calcium. Calcium also reacts in a different way. When calcium is to react with the water, bubbles of hydrogen gas, you can see in the figure, bubbles of hydrogen gas is formed, stick to the surface of metal. Here hydrogen gas, very beautiful experiment again, that will be collected on hydrogen, on calcium metal, and that is why hydrogen gas will be collected on that, and that is why it comes up, because hydrogen is lighter, it comes out. So, calcium reacts with, calcium is a solid, water is a liquid, and this calcium hydroxide is aqueous solution, hydrogen is a gas, and you can see hydrogen gas there on the surface, and there is a very interesting experiment. So, calcium when it reacts with water, it forms calcium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. This type of reaction are called displacement reaction. And in the first I told about combination, chemical combination. This is chemical displacement, where an element combines with a compound to form another compound, and the fourth element is released. So, this is an example for displacement reaction, and these experiments are very interesting, and we have just shown how it works out. You can also try yourself, right. Now, we will pass on to next reaction of metals with water. For example, metals like aluminum and iron, they react in a very different way. Again, gold, platinum etc. do not react at all, but metals like iron, metals like aluminum, iron and zinc react with steam only, not cold water or hot water. So, the reaction, you can see the apparatus set up there. There is a hard glass test tube in which the given metal is taken as a sample like iron, and you have to take a glass wool, means with water, soaked with water, taken in glass wool, and this hard glass test tube is heated by a burner, and you can see the delivery tube coming out. It is to be kept on a beehive shelf with a gas jar. So, immediately reaction takes place when steam is formed. Steam will react with iron to form ferric oxide. Actually, it is called ferroferric oxide, higher oxide of iron, and hydrogen gas is liberated. That gas liberated is collected by the downward displacement of water. That is the action of iron. So, also aluminum similarly react, but metals like gold, platinum etc. do not react with water. But iron, it will form what is called rusting in moist air. You might have seen in your houses also. Rusting of iron is one phenomenon. When iron is exposed to moist air, that is why it happens only in case of rainy season, not in summer. When the water is there in the sufficient humidity is there, it forms what is called ferric oxide, and that is what is called rust. Swami says our mind will be, when you go home and come back from holidays, filled with rust, lust, dust. Rust means the unwanted material. So, also iron forms an unwanted material called ferric oxide, it is a brown layer formed. And how to avoid it? You can paint the substance, or you can give some other metallic surface like galvanizing it is called, or you can brush the surfaces of iron. So, that is called rusting of iron, that happens only in a rainy season. Now, coming to the last property of metals of today, that is about metals, reaction of metals with acids. as I was just now telling you, there are 3 important acids. With the hydrogen chloride or HCl acid, it forms chlorides. With sulfuric acid, they form sulfates. With nitric acid, they form nitrates. For example, magnesium reacts with hydrochloric acid to form magnesium chloride plus hydrogen gas. That is how it is prepared in laboratory. If you take nitric acid, it forms magnesium nitrate plus hydrogen. And here magnesium is said to be more reactive metal, and it is more reactive than aluminum. That is more reactive than zinc, more reactive than iron. We are going to study about that a little later. And so out of these 4, magnesium is more reactive. And one more important combination of acids is called as aqua regia, also called as royal water. It is a combination of concentrated hydrochloric acid and concentrated nitric acid in the ratio of 3:1. It is called royal water. Why it is called royal water? Because metals like platinum, gold, etc. do not dissolve in any of the acids, but the combination of these 2 acids dissolves. Therefore, it is called as aqua regia. And let us see some home assignments. First question, why is sodium kept in kerosene? Second, write equations for the reactions of iron with steam, calcium and potassium with water. Third, state 2 ways of preventing rusting of iron. Thank you.